I'm sitting here with a cup of hot coffee. The steam is rising in the cool morning air. And before I can take my first sip, my dog Rooster decides to bark at absolutely nothing. That's life out here. The quiet isn't always quiet. But to me, it's home. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why some people seem deeply content, even when they don't have much? You see them smile in the grocery store line. You notice they laugh easily at the smallest things. And you think, how can they be so happy when I'm still restless inside? That question haunted me for years. I chased success. I moved from state to state. I worked long hours, thinking that if I earned enough, if I built enough, if I owned enough, then peace would finally arrive. But here's the truth. It never did. Because there's always another bill, another comparison, another reminder that you're still not there. So let me save you some time. Happiness doesn't come from the pile of things you own. It comes from the handful of things you actually practice every day. And over the years, I discovered 10 of them. 10 simple, ordinary, almost boring things. But together, they changed my life. They made it worth living. Before we dive in, let's get honest about the conflict we all face. We live in a world that keeps telling us more is better. More money, more followers, more gadgets, more square footage. And yet, if more was the answer, wouldn't we all be satisfied by now? Look around. People are drowning in stuff, in debt, in schedules that leave no room to breathe. And still, the hunger for something real remains. That's where my story takes a turn. Because I used to be just like that. Always moving, always running, always restless, until I found myself here, in the middle of the forest, with a couple of stubborn dogs and a flock of chickens who don't care if I ever make another dollar in my life. And in that strange twist of fate, I stumbled upon what really matters. Now, I'm not here to preach or hand you a shiny formula. I don't believe in quick fixes. What I do believe is that you can take 1 or 2 ideas from my life, weave them into yours, and feel lighter, maybe even happier. That's all I'm hoping for. So, as I sip this coffee, and Rooster tries to steal the spotlight again, let me share with you the first threads of this story. It's not glamorous. It's not flashy. But it's real. And it begins with something so simple, so overlooked, that most people miss it. But before I reveal it, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what do you truly believe makes life worth living? Not what the ads tell you. Not what your neighbors brag about. Not what Instagram flashes in your face. But deep down, in your own bones. What would make you wake up tomorrow and feel at peace? That's the heartbeat of this message. Because if you can't answer that, you'll spend your whole life chasing shadows. And I know that chase too well. So come with me. Walk down this old dirt path where the air smells like pine and the world slows down just enough for us to breathe. I'll show you what I've learned. Not in theory, not from a book, but from mornings like this, with coffee in my hand, dogs at my feet, and the simple joy of knowing that today is enough. When I first moved out here, I thought the quiet might drive me crazy. No traffic, no neighbors, no late-night restaurants calling my name. Just me, 2 dogs, and a forest that didn't care if I existed or not. But something happened in that silence. I started to find purpose in the smallest things. Let me explain. Most of my life, I measured my worth by big achievements, promotions, paychecks. How far could I move up the ladder? But out here, the ladder is gone. What's left is a simple question. What did I do today that mattered? Sometimes the answer is as small as hauling a pile of cardboard boxes to the burn pit, or fixing a leaky faucet, or cutting firewood before winter sets in. On paper, those don't look like milestones. But when you complete them, you feel it, that quiet satisfaction that whispers, you're moving forward. Purpose doesn't always come wrapped in glory. Sometimes it shows up in chores. And when you string those small victories together, you create momentum. Momentum becomes growth. And growth gives you that sense of being alive. One thing I've learned is this. A man without purpose starts to crumble on the inside. You don't need a grand mission. You just need a reason to get out of bed. To push yourself a little further. To know that today added something to your story. Now, let me take you outside for a minute. Because after the purpose comes the healing part. Nature. I walk out my door and I'm hit with the smell of pine. The chorus of birds. And yes, sometimes the rude interruption of a rooster announcing himself to the world. This, to me, is silence. Even with the background noise of animals. It's a kind of quiet that refreshes my body and clears my mind. I know not everyone can live in a forest. Some of you are in apartments with concrete views. But let me tell you something. There is always a patch of green nearby. Maybe it's a city park. Maybe it's a pond with ducks. Maybe it's just a bench under one old tree. Find it. Claim it. Make it yours. For 15 minutes a day. Take your lunch break there. Sit in your car. Eat your sandwich. And watch the world move slower for a while. That little slice of nature has the power to reset you. And when life gets heavy, sometimes a reset is all you need. I've seen people drown in stress because they never step outside their walls. The light, the breeze, the green. It all matters more than you think. It reminds you that you're part of something bigger than deadlines and emails. It anchors you. And it costs nothing. Now let's talk about something every human craves, but few manage well. Freedom. And with it, independence. Here's the truth. You can be married, committed, deeply in love, and still need your own space. Freedom isn't about rejecting people. It's about creating room to breathe. I've seen too many couples suffocate each other because they think togetherness means 24 hours a day. It doesn't. It means respecting each other enough to say, this day belongs to me. I'm going fishing. I'm going hiking. I'm reading a book in the corner. And you're not invited. And the beauty of that is, when you return, you actually have something to share. Now, I'll admit, my life looks different. I don't have a partner. And truth be told, I don't want one. That means my freedom is built in every single day. But I don't take it for granted. Because freedom isn't just about schedules. It's about mindset. It's knowing that you can make choices without begging for permission. It's having the independence to spend your time, your energy, your focus on what fuels you, even if it's as simple as sitting in this chair, sipping coffee, and refusing to answer the phone. People underestimate how vital freedom is to the human spirit. Animals know it. Put a wild creature in a cage and watch it wither. Humans are no different. We need room. We need independence. And when we don't have it, our joy slowly dies. So, when I think about the ingredients that make life worth living, these are the first three. Purpose, nature, freedom. Purpose keeps you moving forward. Nature brings you back to center. And freedom gives you the space to actually live. And here's the best part. You don't need to move to a forest to find them. You just need to make choices that point in their direction. Finish one small thing each day. Step outside for just a moment. Draw a boundary around your time and call it your own. Do that, and you'll start to feel it too. The quiet shift inside that tells you maybe, just maybe, life is worth living after all. If you've been with me this far, you already know that purpose. Nature and freedom are the backbone of my days. But there's more, and honestly, I wouldn't have made it this long without the next part. The dogs, the chickens, the fur and the feathers that keep me laughing, cussing, and shaking my head all in the same day. Now, let me tell you, animals are not easy. They test your patience. They steal your sandwiches. They track mud across your clean floor. But the love they give back is something no paycheck ever matched. Rooster, my loudmouth dog, argues with me daily. He swears he deserves another treat 2 hours before the clock says so. And 9 times out of 10, I lose that argument because he looks up at me with those eyes. And suddenly, I'm the weak one. But here's the truth. In a world full of broken promises, animals never lie. They don't hold grudges. They don't keep score. 10 minutes after I scold him, Rooster is right back at my side, tail wagging, ready for the next adventure. That kind of unconditional love does something to your spirit. It reminds you that you are worth showing up for, even on your worst days. And if you've ever felt truly alone, you know how priceless that feeling is. But love isn't enough on its own. We need a deeper anchor. For me, that's spirituality. I'm not here to convert you. I'm just telling you what's true for me. I believe in God. I believe this earth is not just a random accident, but a classroom. Life is the toughest school we'll ever attend. Every mistake, every heartbreak, every hard season, it's all part of the curriculum. Now, maybe you see it differently. Maybe you call it the universe, or fate, or energy. That's fine. What matters is having something bigger than yourself to lean on. Because if this is all there is, just bills, traffic, and taxes, then what's the point? My faith doesn't make me perfect. Far from it. But it gives me peace. It helps me forgive myself for the years I wasted and pushes me to do better with the time I have left. That belief alone makes life worth living. And faith leads to something else. Giving, charity, generosity. I don't consider myself a social butterfly. Crowds drain me. I'd rather be in my cabin with the dogs. But that doesn't mean I can't give. And let me tell you, giving is one of the quickest ways to light up your own heart. Every year, I run a little fundraiser for the local animal rescue. I call it Dogtober. People chip in what they can, and we raise enough to cover kennels, food, vet, bills. It's not fancy. It won't make the news. But when I hand that check over, I feel something shift inside me, like I've put my energy into something that actually matters. And it's not just money. Sometimes it's giving away a tool I don't need, or food from my pantry, or simply showing up when someone's struggling. Each act, no matter how small, chisels away at selfishness and leaves more room for joy. But let's be honest, joy also needs comfort, and comfort, my friend, is underrated. We're told to hustle, grind, push through, but you can't pour from an empty cup. You need a soft chair, a cool breeze, or a warm blanket. You need a space that lets your body relax so your mind can wander. For me, it's my recliner. I practically live in it. That chair has seen my best naps, my deepest prayers, my wildest daydreams, And it taught me this comfort isn't luxury. It's fuel. If you have the means to make your life more comfortable, do it. Get the good mattress. Install the air conditioner. Buy the chair that makes you sigh when you sit down. Because when you're comfortable, you actually have the energy to tackle the rest of life. Now, here's where I had to learn a hard lesson. Comfort doesn't mean clutter. And that brings us to simplicity. I've met folks with 30-room mansions who are miserable. Why? Because more rooms mean more problems, more stuff to manage, more stress to carry. I don't need that. I like cozy. I like simple. Simplicity is clearing out the closet you never open. It's donating the things you don't use. It's choosing peace over possessions. And I'll tell you right now, clutter breeds stress. If your home feels crowded, your mind will too. I keep the tools I need for projects, chainsaws, lawn gear, the basics. But I fight the urge to collect junk, because I know the more I own, the less free I feel. And at this age, freedom beats trophies every time, which leads me to one of the most overlooked secrets to a happy life. Routine. Now, some people roll their eyes at that word. They think routine means boring. But here's what I've discovered. Routine isn't boring. Routine is freedom in disguise. Every morning, I wake up around 4 or 5. I make my coffee. Check the news just enough to see if the world still exists. And then I step outside with the dogs. That rhythm grounds me. It gives my day a backbone. Later in the afternoon, I take a short nap. That's when I dream the strangest dreams: roller coasters, barbecue grills, you name it. And somehow, those naps refresh me more than anything else. Evenings follow their own pattern. Dinner around the same time. A couple of television shows. The dogs know when it's bedtime, and they head to their spots without a fight. By the time I turn off the lights, the day feels complete. See, routine gives you something to look forward to. It builds a sense of rhythm that makes life easier, calmer, more manageable. And the older I get, the more I appreciate that steady beat. So here we are. Pets that love you without conditions. Faith that steadies you when life feels shaky. Generosity that fills both hands at once. Comfort that restores you. Simplicity that frees you. And routine that holds you steady. These are not glamorous things, but together, they form a kind of quiet symphony. And when you live by them, life begins to hum with peace you can actually feel. There's one more piece to this puzzle, and I've saved it for last, because without it, everything else I've shared with you would eventually fall apart. It's your health. For years, I ignored mine. I ate whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. I carried extra weight around like it was no big deal. And slowly, almost without noticing, life became harder. Walking upstairs left me winded. Bending down to tie my shoes felt like a chore. My mind grew foggy. I couldn't even remember a 2-digit password some days. I thought that was just aging, but it wasn't. It was neglect. And one day, I had enough. I looked at myself in the mirror and realized that if I didn't change, all the freedom, all the nature, all the love from my dogs, none of it would matter, because I wouldn't be around long enough to enjoy it. So I changed. I started eating better. I dropped the weight. I began walking every day, then hiking, then building the kind of stamina I hadn't felt in decades. And here's what shocked me. It wasn't just my body that improved. My mind cleared. I could focus again. I could sit down like this. No script, no teleprompter, and speak from the heart without losing my train of thought. That's when it hit me. Health is not just about looking good. It's about staying sharp. It's about protecting the gift of time so you can keep living the life you've built. So if you hear nothing else today, hear this. Take care of your health. Because without it, all the other ingredients for happiness get washed away. Now let me pull it all together. Purpose gives your day direction. Nature resets your soul. Freedom keeps your spirit alive. Animals remind you you're loved. Faith steadies you. Giving opens your heart. Comfort restores your energy. Simplicity frees your mind. Routine grounds you. And health makes all of it possible. That's my recipe. Not complicated. Not glamorous. But real. And if you start weaving even one or two of these into your own life, you'll feel the shift. Look, I'm not claiming to have it all figured out. I've wasted years. I've made mistakes. But the older I get, the more I realize that happiness isn't about the things we chase. It's about the choices we repeat, the habits we hold on to, the small rituals that add up to a life worth living. So here's my invitation to you. Take one thing from this list and try it this week. Find a patch of nature. Clean out one corner of your home. Give something away. Or simply take a walk after dinner and notice how your body feels. Start there. Because joy doesn't come all at once. It comes piece by piece, choice by choice, until one day you look around and realize you're content, you're at peace, you're alive in the best way. And if you found any value here, do me a favor. Leave a comment below. Tell me which of these 10 hit home for you. Hit the subscribe button so we can keep walking this road together. And share this video with someone who might need a reminder that happiness doesn't live in things, it lives in how we live. I'll be here, sipping my coffee, trying to keep Rooster out of the treat jar, and reminding myself that life, even in its simplest form, is worth every single breath. So until next time, my friends, stay healthy, stay grounded, and happy trails.